The Pigeon and the Crow. Once on a time when Brahmadatta was reigning in Benares, the Bodhisattva was born a pigeon. Now the Benares folk of those days, as an act of goodness, used to hang up straw baskets in diverse places for the shelter and comfort of the birds. And the cook of the guild master of Benares hung up one of these baskets in his kitchen. In this basket the Bodhisattva took up his abode, sallying out at daybreak in quest of food, and returning home in the evening, and so he lived his life. But one day a crow, flying over the kitchen, snuffed up the goodly savor from the salt and fresh fish and meat there, and was filled with longing to taste it. Casting about how to have his will, he perched hard by, and at the evening saw the Bodhisattva come home and go into the kitchen. "Ah," thought he, "I can manage it through the pigeon." So back he came next day at dawn, and when the Bodhisattva sailed out in quest of food, kept following him about from place to place like his shadow. So the Bodhisattva said,
"Why do you keep following me, friend?"
"My lord," answered the crow, "your demeanor has won my admiration, and henceforth it is my wish to follow you."
"But your kind of food and mine, friend, are not the same,"
said the Bodhisattva.
"You will be hard put to it if you attach yourself to me."
"My lord," said the crow, "when you are seeking your food, I will feed too, by your side."
"So be it, then,"
said the Bodhisattva.
"Only you must be earnest."
And with this admonition to the crow, the Bodhisattva ranged about pecking up grass seeds, whilst the other went about turning over cow dung and picking out the insects underneath till he had got his fill. Then back he came to the Bodhisattva and remarked,
"My lord, you give too much time to eating. Excess therein should be shunned."
And when the Bodhisattva had fed and reached home again at evening, in flew the crow with him into the kitchen. "Why, our bird has brought another home with him!" exclaimed the cook, and hung up a second basket for the crow. And from that time onward the two birds dwelt together in the kitchen. Now one day the guild master had in a store of fish which the cook hung up about the kitchen. Filled with greedy longing at the sight, the crow made up his mind to stay at home next day and treat himself to this excellent fare. So all the night long he lay groaning away, and next day, when the Bodhisattva was starting in search of food, he cried,
"Come along, friend crow."
The crow replied,
"Go without me, my lord, for I have a pain in my stomach."
"Friend,"
answered the Bodhisattva,
"I never heard of crows having pains in their stomachs before. True, crows feel faint in each of the 3 night watches, but if they eat a lamp wick, their hunger is appeased for the moment. You must be hankering after the fish in the kitchen here. Come now, man's food will not agree with you. Do not give way like this, but come and seek your food with me."
"Indeed, I am not able, my lord," said the crow.
"Well, your own conduct will shew,"
said the Bodhisattva.
"Only fall not a prey to greed, but stand steadfast."
And with this exhortation, away he flew to find his daily food. The cook took several kinds of fish, and dressed some one way, some another. Then lifting the lids off his saucepans a little to let the steam out, he put a colander on the top of one and went outside the door, where he stood wiping the sweat from his brow. Just at that moment out popped the crow's head from the basket. A glance told him that the cook was away, and
"Now or never," thought he, "is my time. The only question is, shall I choose minced meat or a big lump?"
Arguing that it takes a long time to make a full meal of minced meat, he resolved to take a large piece of fish and sit and eat it in his basket. So out he flew and alighted on the colander. Click went the colander. "What can that be?" said the cook, running in on hearing the noise. Seeing the crow, he cried, "Oh, there's that rascally crow wanting to eat my master's dinner. I have to work for my master, not for that rascal. What's he to me, I should like to know?" So, first shutting the door, he caught the crow and plucked every feather off his body. Then he pounded up ginger with salt and cumin, and mixed in sour buttermilk, finally saucing the crow in the pickle and flinging him back into his basket. And there the crow lay groaning, overcome by the agony of his pain. At evening the Bodhisattva came back and saw the wretched plight of the crow.
"Ah, greedy crow,"
he exclaimed,
"you would not heed my words, and now your own greed has worked you woe."
So saying, he repeated this stanza.
"The headstrong man who, when exhorted, pays no heed to friends who kindly counsel give, shall surely perish like the greedy crow, who laughed to scorn the pigeon's warning words."
Then, exclaiming,
"I too can no longer dwell here,"
the Bodhisattva flew away. But the crow died there and then, and the cook flung him, basket and all, on the dust heap.